You remember Christ, the clone of Yah? The stories about him, for the lack of better available descriptives. He was referred to as the son of God. Like, God fucked somebody and spawned a baby. Or even made a test tube baby. Christ was a test tube baby in the sense that he was a clone of Yah. It had been mastered by the time he was implanted into the womb of Mary. By the way, it's 8:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by a clock that's 7 minutes fast. Here in the super cool little minivan. It's April 8th, 2021. I think it's like Wednesday. Is it Wednesday?
No, Thursday.
It's Thursday. Okay. It's Thursday. See, I lost a day. On Tuesday, I thought it was Wednesday. On Wednesday, I don't know what day I thought it was. And now today, I think it's Wednesday. Weird shit. Anyway, I mentioned the clone of Yah because of some of the things he taught. Some of the things that when we're time-traveling, timeline-jumping warriors, we have to just be able to abide by his chronicle, you see? What did the clone of Yah dictate in his supreme knowledge? I mean, as supreme as you can wrap a human mind around. Christ probably had it, right? He probably had it when he was here as Melchizedek, too. And Lucifer, who wasn't human even when he was here, he had that ultimate knowledge, too. So him and Christ shared that. They had that in common. And for the newcomers, Lucifer acted as buffer. All 3 times recorded in the Bible. Melchizedek, the king in the Old Testament, that was the clone of Yah, that was Christ. But not as the clone of Yah. Then as the Messiah born to the Virgin Mary, bibbity blah. And then as, the Alpha and Omega, the final entity, right? And when Lucifer sits in the target seat and acts as buffer for the final time in the ultimate manner, he actually impersonates Christ. What is he acting as buffer against? Okay. One of Yah's failed experiments. We're going to bust out laughing. No, it's not women. But they are a failed experiment. But this is Satan, all right? Which is an entity that doesn't have a body. It's spirit and technology, okay? So he's like the ancient artificial intelligence that's been running shit here since Christ's resurrection. It influenced shit here before then. That's why we had the scribes and the Pharisees that Christ warned about. The scribes, for those of you who don't understand what the fuck he was talking about, that's the dudes who have control over the very fucking scrolls, the original scrolls. Do you see? All they gotta do is take fucking a different piece of paper, copy down the parts that fucking they can't do away with, and change a few lines. But blam, that's what Christ was talking about. There won't be no sound doctrine. There will be a famine in the land. Lo and behold, here comes King James. Suddenly God's mentality mirrors his mentality. God's a self-loathing, closeted homosexual who hates women. Oh, wow. But read a 1611 translation. Read the prologue from the translators. And you'll see they warned you heads would roll if they didn't write it the way they wrote it as a fairy tale. If they didn't translate it the way they translated it. This was in response to the Geneva version of the Bible, which was an unofficial, not government release of the Bible. Do you see? King James Version is a government release of the Bible. For those of you who are into that, I lost the link to the Vimeo, so I don't even know if anybody's seeing this over there anymore. It just came up missing out of my browser, and now it's not there, and I didn't care enough. I'm sorry if that sounds crass or like, you know, I am a dick. I didn't give a fuck about your link, bibbity blah. No, it's more like I was ignoring myself because your link led to everything that I did. Yeah, I don't know. To show that you can take my same shit and you can get 200,000 hits and I get 7. Do you see what I'm saying? I get 7 fucking views. You get 250,000 on the same video. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating and aggravating, you know? So you just get tired of seeing it. Okay, yeah. What's this one gonna have, you know? You see? But hey, we were talking about the clone of Yah, not me. And I brought him up because, well, it comes back to talking about me, all right? I remember Christ saying that, you know, because, all right, you remember the story. They brought the bitch. They dragged her off into the motherfucking, into the church and shit naked because they caught her fucking some dude. You notice that they didn't bring the dude. Do you see? They let the dude just get up and walk away. He's committing adultery with a woman. Well, women are supposedly like the weaker sex. That's talking about their minds too, right? So it's like, okay, why'd you snatch up the bitch and not the dude? You see, and why is it in all these weird religions where people are being fucking punished for adultery, it's always the woman that gets buried up to her head and gets stoned to death? Why isn't the man getting charged? Do you see? That's what's fucked up about that shit. And Christ noticed it when they brought this bitch in there all naked and shit. Just, they gonna put on a big show. They caught her fucking, ooh, let's drag her in there naked with no clothes on and shit. You see, because they was pervs and they wanted to handle a naked woman and they wanted to display a naked woman. They wanted to be righteous and holy, you see? Which exposed their perversion for future generations to see. Because, well, you know, hey, you're going to ask the same question Christ asked. Where's the man, for one? Okay, well, in this case, don't put your wives away for adultery. In other words, don't stop fucking them. Don't stop loving them. Don't divorce them just because they committed adultery. I mean, you know, that's not saying give your bitch a license to fuck. You know, okay, you just keep going and fucking around on me because Christ said don't divorce you. No. It's talking about, okay, you forgive a bitch like Christ forgives you, and then, okay, you've taken the blood of atonement. Now to continue to willfully sin is to trample the blood of Christ anew every time you sin. You see? You're trampling the blood of the sacrifice of God. You know, his little clone and shit. Because, you know, we're tiny up in this little simulation, Lucifer's simulation, where God is erected, you know, Satan is erected as God here. Even God has acknowledged that if you read the Bible. It doesn't say God acknowledges Satan as God of this world. It says he acknowledges that Satan is erected as God of this world. You see, there's a difference. Now, this technology is being shot into the veins of many people right now. A technology that will make humans, because it's a blood vein computer. Okay, I know you've heard this term before, blood vein computer. If you haven't, it's like, where the fuck you been? You were ostrich? You got your head hid in the sand? Blood vein computer. You get that blood vein computer in your veins, in your bloodstream. It's powered by your blood, by your heartbeat, by your body heat. It's powered by you, and it gets stronger with every heartbeat, and it self-replicates. Do you know what self-replicating means? It makes clones of itself in your blood, so it is almost all your blood. All your blood's made up of these cells that are a blood vein computer. Then you're totally controllable. You know, it's taking a couple injections to do it. And not everybody's getting injected with this, okay? Some people are actually just getting some weird vaccine. But some people are getting injected with this blood vein computer. It's in your vein. It self-replicates. It becomes you. It controls your mind. Like Elon Musk, remember he had the little thing that would control the mind to the computer and connect the mind and the computer together? Well, that's what they're trying to do up in this shit. Transhumanism. You've heard of transhumanism, right? Surely you have by now. You see? Because everybody has already talked about it. Well, now we're living in the era where, okay, that shit they talked about years ago, they're doing it now. Yeah, there's transhumans. A lot of our soldiers are transhumans because they've had the fucking blood vein computer injected into them. And they've lost control of themselves. You see? Their minds and thoughts and thought patterns are controlled. Do you see? And this shit is escalated from, like, I don't know, giving psychotropics to somebody that's mentally ill and then hitting them with blue beam shit, you know, to give them thoughts and give them urges that, you know, you want to watch them act out, you see? And they don't have a clue that there's satellites and drones and all this other shit above us. They have cloaking devices. We've already filmed that in 2015 above 606 Erie Street, and 604 Erie Street in Grayling, where it's like, hey, they were hanging out up there, man. And just the glare of the sun with the cheap camera. I had a cheap fucking camera, not a good one like the one I'm talking to you through right now. I had a cheap camera, and when I panned across, I was filming something else entirely. I was filming a chemtrail plane filling in a black line in the sky, okay? And it didn't occur to me at the time that the black line it was filling in may have just been its shadow. You see? I don't know. It could have been. But anyway, years later, like 2018, I look at the footage again from 2014, 2015. It was 2014 because I got the new camera in 2014. All right, so I was still filming with the old camera in 2014. And because the new camera wouldn't have caught this shit, all right? It caught, when I panned across, the glare of the sun exposed, you know, like a cloaking device was hiding this vehicle, this, you know, aircraft up above, right above my yard, right above me, man, you know. It was probably, I don't know, 4,000 feet. I mean, it was right there. And you could see it plain as day when you panned across it. And it's only like maybe a second and a half long. But it's long enough if you stop it and look. Okay, that's definitely an aircraft. It's definitely got a cloaking device. And the glare of the sun definitely, with this cheap camera, fucked with its ability to hide shit. And I didn't even notice it for like 3 or 4 years. It was 2018 and 2014 is when I filmed it. So who was in office then? Obama? Hey, here's another interesting story. Obama wasn't in office very long, and I had a dream that didn't seem like a dream, where I woke up, and he was looking down on my face. I was in a lab or some shit, you know, I was on some kind of bed or cot or something, and I looked up, and he was looking right down on my face, and when I opened my eyes, he backed up real quick, just, you know, like pulled his face back like he didn't want me to see his face. And it was almost like I had a sense, like, you know, in this dream, like, hey, wow, he's an alien, you know, that mentality. And it spooked me out. And to this day, if I remember this dream, I still have the same, like, sense of spookiness, just the goosebumps on my back and shit. Because it's like, it's really weird and spooky. And it's weird to have such a vivid dream, you know? I mean, it's really vivid. And to be like, okay, you woke up out of a stupor that was induced in some kind of way. Then you were put back down into an induced stupor, you see? So you can't really say what the fuck happened. You don't know. So I have seen, you know, symptoms of the trauma, you know, because my wife does display the symptoms of the trauma. Like, you know, maybe how things happen is traumatic to her. She endured it in a traumatizing way. I don't know. she has a definite tick now that started in like the middle of January when this shit happened, okay? Where it's almost like she's flinching. She yanks her head back and her eyes, move to the side of her head to the right. And she yanks her head to the right, almost like she's flinching, like somebody's about to hit her. You see? And that started because I was with her for 3.5 months before this. She didn't have this problem. This started in the middle of January, whenever this bullshit happened. And, and I told her too, it's like, you're doing this weird thing, man. You're doing it, you have a tick now, like a weird tick. You see? There was no change in her medication or anything that would, that would explain it. You see? Then also the distance, and my once happy little childish wife that was always so happy is now kind of like a sad little zombie. And I don't know if that's all attributable to the experience or to the aftermath, which is dealing with me, and dealing with how it affected me. I mean, because, she sees it, she's around me. Familiarity breeds contempt, so we're around each other too much, so she's not going to like me so much because we're always around each other, and we're in this position where we can't be apart from each other because there's so much that can happen, and so much just seems like it does happen, and I really don't want shit to be like that. You see what I'm saying? I don't want somebody to be like overdosed with me or overloaded. I feel like they just can't stand, they need more of me. You know what I'm saying? I like for people to be like hungry for me, and I like to leave them wanting more. So this has been pretty hard to endure, because I don't have no private time to when I cry or bitch, I'm actually doing it in front of her. So it's like, yeah, you're seeing that could add to, like, if there was a traumatic reaction, a PTSD reaction, which, okay, well, and this woman who has, these things she's in therapy for, stuff like that, it's like, okay, now she has this shit to add on to it, and, there's, like, visible symptoms, that you could see. I'm gonna get it on film one day. I'll be filming her, and she'll do this shit, and you'll see exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Because she says that she doesn't notice any change in her vision when it happens. It happens for a good second and a half. I would notice that, hey, well, I'm missing shit. I'm watching a show, and all of a sudden I'm missing like a second to 2 seconds of it because my head's jerking and my eyes are jerking sideways. You see? Now, this shit didn't happen before the middle of January. I don't know, what the fuck, man, but that's when it started. So it's not really a reaction. That there is not a reaction to the aftermath. That's a reaction to, the current event. But the aftermath reactions could be like, okay, well, being sad, being seeming disassociated from reality, almost like zombified, like walking in a fugue state. A lot of us know what walking in a fugue state is like. You're walking around, it's like you're not even there. You're almost half asleep. I don't know who they rented the apartment out to. I know by now they've got a view that apartment is a problem apartment. That it ends up with problem people in it. You see? I mean, just between Amber and then putting the manager in there, and then what happened with Amber. You see? Okay, well, there you go. See, I guess that's something to think about, is what the clone of Yah would say, and how far he expects you to go with it before you draw the line and say, okay, yeah, that's enough. It's like, you're going to keep doing it, then we're just going to take this route instead. You see? So, you try to be forgiving and give people more chances, but there has to be a limit on the chances, right? Let you put your hands on me and my skin-tight jeans with your teenage dream tonight. Won't you put your hands on me and my skin tight jeans be your teenage strength tonight. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. You're waiting for the bus, the family fair. Lucked out, didn't run into any Amber's rapists so far. Every time we go out, we have to worry about that now. Carrying knives and shit.